Hello, hello. Happy Monday. Is everybody crushing Monday? Oh, good. Hi, Kelly. I wanted to make sure people were on. I never know with this crazy connection I have out here. There are a couple people. Hi, Jean. Hi, Katie. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Oh, this is great. This is great. I'm super excited. Tonight I have my special guest that I've talked about, and I'll introduce him in a minute. Hopefully he got the invite. He wants to be in my video, so I'm going to invite him in just a second. Um, for those of you who don't know, I am Mary Moss, and I live in Richmond, Virginia. I'm an author, a writer, a speaker, and in my other life, my daytime life, I'm an administrator in the transportation division for an international corporation. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I know everybody's really excited about this topic and for a great opportunity to hear some words of wisdom from a guy who has helped breathe life into so many of our dreams. I'm going to bring him on now while we're talking about a little bit of housekeeping. We love, all right, I'm approving him. Reactions, I see some have already started. John-Erik, it's adding you. I hope, there we go. Hey! Hi, hi. Yay, I did it. Can we hear you?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were talking or just smiling. Okay. All right, great.
I was just smiling.
Yeah, I was just telling people that we love reactions. So I hope everybody will give lots of reactions. No angry faces, though. Only love, only happy faces. If you know of anybody that you think could benefit from a discussion about dreams, invite them now. Or you can share it later after you hear the great content that we're going to have. Right, John-Erik?
Sorry, I was hitting the angry face reaction.
Yeah, thanks. All right, smart Alec. You're not going to make it easy on me, are you?
Oh.
Do me a favor, if you're watching live, if you would please drop a live in the comments. And if you happen to catch us on the replay, hit replay. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got lots of questions, but I just want to give those of you who might not know a tiny bit of background. I've known John-Erik for a couple years, and he has graciously been my friend, and most recently has become my dream coach in an official capacity about 3 months ago, but it really started a little over a year ago when he sent about 30 of us on this wild goose chase to Orlando. And I've shared with that with some of my friends. What?
Wild goose chase usually means that there's nothing at the end of it. There was definitely some treasure at the end of the rain.
I was going
Okay,
to finish. That was just the start of the story. Anyway, we all ended up down in Orlando. Nobody knew what we were going to be doing, where we were even supposed to go after we left the airport. But it ended up being 3 days that was life-changing, literally, for the people who were there. Most of us were in a similar situation. We had either lost our dreams, didn't know what our dreams were, forgotten them, couldn't even begin to figure them out. And John-Erik and Katie and Dan Shanker were the adventure team, and they guided us through a tremendous process that I know most of the people who were there attest with me that it was life-changing. So thanks for that, and I'm excited to be able to share some of that life-changing wisdom and knowledge with our friends tonight. So would you give us a little bit of background about everything you know, what you've done, just so people have a little bit of familiarity if they don't know you?
Tell everybody all the things.
Oh, okay. All the things, John-Erik.
Talk about all the I see some of our friends that were there at the trip. That shame on Jay and us silly friends for that amazing. Yeah. So if you were there, if you were one of our friends that were there, let us know in the comments. Yeah, it was that was an amazing experience. I think we should do that again, eh?
Yes. Yes.
Do you want to know a secret?
Is there a plan to have that? Have another one of those anytime soon?
There is. There is actually. You want the date?
Yay! Huh? Yes, I'd love dates.
Should I tell everybody on this live?
I don't know. Maybe we should keep the intrigue going.
Well, no, then they'll go over and bug me about it.
Okay. Well, let's do it now.
No, you don't want the secret revealed here.
Does everybody want
the
it?
Secret revealed. Yeah, you guys want
Love
the secret?
Secrets. Oh, Natalie. Yes, Kimberly wants the secret. Okay, Natalie wants to know. Everybody wants to know.
The next, basically, that we had, it was kind of our adventure retreat, which another version of that, just with some other extra awesomeness being added to it, is, drum roll, May 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yay!
So in like 6 weeks in Orlando, Florida. It is going to be
a
2-year anniversary. And so we will kind of reveal that in the days ahead.
Great.
And how somebody could be a part of it. Yeah, but we're going to be doing another one.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, is this open to alumni, or are you wanting to just do new people who haven't had the opportunity yet?
No, it's going to be, by the way, I should say hi. My mom's apparently on this live. Hi, Mom.
Oh, yay!
She just asked,
Hi, Randy.
She just asked Norwegian pancakes. Mom, are you offering to?
Yeah, well, those are a must-have. Those Norwegian pancakes are a must-have.
That's one of the surprises is that that I had is that you got to meet my mom, and my mom made
right.
So that was fun. Yeah. So okay. So alumni, yeah. I mean, alumni's invited, and I'm sure it's going to be it'll be a new group, and I think it's good to have a little bit of a mix of somebody, because every time you do it, you'll learn something new from it.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Am I? Maybe are you breaking up, or is it me breaking up?
I think it's you.
No, it was fine.
I think.
It was fine on my thing. Hold on, let me try one thing. You keep talking about.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, all right, well, that is a great surprise, because a lot of us have been wondering if there was going to be another one, and I think John-Erik was waiting to see how all the stars aligned. And so it's May 4th, 5th, and 6th, and he'll be revealing details of that. So if you are not already following him, you need to follow him, right? What if you're not in Social Coach? Will you be putting that out on your timeline so people can see it publicly? Or?
Thanks for saying timeline and not wall. Thank you.
Oh, I know the difference.
Okay,
you would disconnect, would you not? If I called it your wall,
I would hit all of the angry emojis.
No, I know the difference.
I'll drop it on the wall in my team page. Drop it on the wall on the team page.
Right.
Okay, so the way that usually works with stuff is that we unveil it first. So a thing that I just like is really important to me is just the idea of honor, and about appreciating and showing honor and respect to the people that support you, the people that are part of your adventure. And I think too many times we get so focused even on, we get focused on the fans, not the players, right? Like we want so much the next person that it was like, well, wait, what about we get I was just talking in Social Coach about, I think we talk about like funnels and like, oh, you gotta have a bunch of people up here. And I just think you like flip that around and you just treat people like you try to add value and treat people one-on-one. Because like whatever your dream is, it's important to understand is that, there might be 100 people that want to be a customer, but you have to understand is that they fall in love with your dream one at a time. Okay, so one of the things that we teach at Disney is the idea is that like orientation is the idea that we aren't trying to get people into Disney. We're trying to get Disney into them. It's a big mindset difference. Too many times, like let's say that you have whether that's a group, whether that's whatever your community is, whatever your thing is, we so much focus on like, hey, we want to get everybody to do our thing. Well, that's not how it works. It's about getting Disney into the people. It is about like sales is just the transfer of belief from one person to another. It is about getting your dream not just out there. Like the Dream Coach experience, to me, my goal with it is not to just help you get your dream out there. I want to get your dream inside somebody else. That's
right.
Important thing.
Right.
And so I think
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I think it's important that then, those people that, now that I like say it out loud, I guess it sounds kind of crazy, but I said, hey, if you guys want to, I'm going to subsidize your trip. You just have to show up these dates and I'll let you know when you get to the airport. And there's some people that took that risk, and that very, very much like that paid off for a lot of people. But
yeah,
so one of the things that is important, like for me, is that, so I'll first roll it out to Dream Coach to say, hey, who would want to be a part of this? And then what I'll do is then I will roll it out to like our founders, people that helped even start our community. And then I'll roll it out to like Social Coach. And then I'll go and roll it out to like the public. So, there'll always be a limited amount of spots, and that's okay.
Right.
Because I want to create, for me, I think what's really important about dreams right now, like one of the things that I'm focused on is about creating experience. And so I'm wanting to create experiences online and in person that are magical, that have surprise and delight that people weren't expecting. And so I don't want to that's why I was like, if I try to give it itineraries and try to give all that stuff, like that's what we get focused on instead of saying, I need you to clear. And
that was the beginning of it.
It's pretty much what I said.
Right. It was the beginning of a huge shift, I think, for every one of us. Because all of us, I think, to a person are like list makers, always having to know, what's coming next, and letting go of that really set the tone for that whole 3 days, I think, and allowed us to be more open to what was to come, because we weren't focusing on what's coming next. Let's see, it's 2 o'clock. I think it was really a great way to introduce the experience.
Yeah, it was done very intentionally that way.
Yeah. So I hope everybody who wants to gets to do it. But I do. You always have honored the people who have been there from the beginning. The people who are currently in the programs, and that's great, because that's also a kind of a different way of doing things than people, I think, are used to, especially in a lot of the industries that are out there. So I had a ton of questions.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. Are they like trivia?
One of the ones that
do I get prizes if do I get prizes if I answer them?
We'll see. We'll talk about it. One of the things that I got, question that I got from several people was that when you're really stuck and even going backwards, how do you motivate yourself? Especially when you have maybe things like chronic illness or some other things going on in your life. So how do you overcome that to stay on track or get back on track?
Okay. Good question. Well, I would say that there's probably two ways to answer that. Okay. Which you should know by now. I'm not going to answer any of these questions probably, but I
Right.
want to get to the thought behind maybe some of these questions. The first one is if you don't know what your dream is, which a lot of people are in that category. Okay. A lot of people just don't know. I think the best way sometimes to discover your dream is help somebody with their dream. Find somebody that you just say, listen, like too many times we listen to advice from people who like we wouldn't want their life. And so find that person that like I want, like they're making a dream happen. And then
Right.
not for, in perpetuity, but like for a season of time, just say like, hey, I want to help like serve your dream. Like I want to help make that happen, because I think that sometimes is the best way. And so when you're stuck, I think sometimes it's important to change your perspective. And I know that I often like I'll do that, is that I'll go and put myself in just like I might not know the answer, so I'm just gonna go help somebody with their dream. And that's like how I a lot of times started this. Is just I started asking my friends. I would call my friends up and just say, hey, how are things going? And tell me about your project. Hey, what's the latest with this? And I would just talk to them on the phone. Like
Right.
literally all my stuff started with I would just call a couple of friends and just say, hey, how's it going? And then I would ask them questions like, what's your biggest like frustration right now? And they would tell me about that. And then
Right.
say, oh, well, have you thought about this? I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then I would say, well, what if we did this? And one of the things I actually haven't ever talked about this, so I'll talk about it here, is
Woo! Exclusive.
the power well, because I was reminded yesterday by a friend who told me a story about me and being involved in a project. And he said, well, you know what shifted everything? And I was like, what? And he said, you used the word us. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, like, we felt alone. We felt like we couldn't do this. And then you started saying, well, you know what we could do? And he said, what do you mean we? And I was like, us. Like, I'm here to help you. Like, I'm not on the payroll. I'm not. It just was like I was given a call and asking. And I would say, hey, how can I help you? I think if you want, like, forget all of, like, the leadership books and all of this stuff. I'll tell you the number one way to build leadership and influence is just start to ask people, how can I help you?
Right.
How can I help you? And so what started happening to me is that, like, that just started to grow. And so if you feel stuck, stop focusing on your problem and help people solve their problem. Because I really believe that, like, you sometimes have come to me with, that's partially what I do as a dream coach, is like, hey, here's what a frustration is. Here, I can't, like, figure this thing out. And I said, have you thought about this? And you're like, yeah, that's right.
Right.
But if I would have equally said, hey, this person over here, they have a question, and I just told them, hey, pretend it's Mary's question, you could help them. Like,
Right.
you know the answer. You just don't know the answer in your own head because of the spinning that happens.
Right.
But if I take it out of your head and I just like, hey, Bob, pretend this is your question, you often can solve that. Or what happens is you get a unique perspective that you hadn't thought about before.
Right.
Yeah,
that's one thing. That's one thing that I've seen happen among those of us in Dream Coach in particular. We all help each other. It's like if we're stuck on something, we reach out to each other sometimes and say, hey, I need to bounce something off of you, or what do you think about this? And just get that other perspective. And it helps me a lot when I help someone else, because I may see a new new way of doing something or a new way of approaching something just by helping them. So yeah, that's definitely true. That's certainly valid.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the ways. I'm actually going to be doing a whole series on discovering your dream. That's kind of a like a prequel to the Dream Coach experience, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about in there. Now, for people, when we start talking about how do you motivate yourself, that's a hard question, because I think the question in and of itself is flawed. Why I think the question is flawed is because that is an exhausting idea to have to keep. Like, if I had to wake up every day and decide, am I going to do this thing? That is that's an exhausting idea to me. That is going to waste a lot of energy. I don't have time for that in my world. What I do is, I think I said this I think we were talking about this like a week or two ago in Dream Coach, is I don't make the decision whether I'm going to stand up from getting knocked down when I'm in the ring.
Right.
I make that decision before I step into the ring. And so I just think that a lot of times you have to make that decision before. I talked about that today a lot, is that I guarantee you, I've never seen it happen any other way, is that your feelings will follow action. And so I just have made a decision. I'm going to get up. Like, I already know tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to do the thing, right? I'm not going to talk about the thing. I'm going to do the thing. And when I take action, I think that's one of the biggest aha moments that people get within the first couple of weeks of coaching, is just, it redefines what action versus activity is. And it just starts to change the wiring of your brain. So that's why even is, well, I don't feel like it. I just don't think I just think that a lot of people that I'm coaching right now, like we had to get them through that. And some people take longer than others. Like, that's fine. But I'm so happy that there's a lot of people in our program that, like, that's how they started. I don't feel like it. I remember one of them, and they're on here right now, is they messaged me and said, yeah, but I blah, blah, blah. And they told me whatever. And I was like, cool, just message me when you do it. Yeah, but I had nope. Like,
it wasn't me.
Hit the live button, do it. And then,
but I've had my moments. Yeah.
Message me when it's done. Yeah, but no, see, you're going to suffer loss. Like, if you don't, like, you know what's going to be scarier than you hit the button? That I'm not going to be your coach. So just decide that you want to do that. And
I'll tell you, the biggest gift that you gave me in the program, one of the biggest ones, was we all had to decide what was our daily action going to be, like, really early on. And I know you remember this because you made a point to reach out to me. It was probably the second week. So this
is how horrible I am.
Daily,
This story will tell everybody how horrible I am. I can't wait. Go ahead.
Right. No, it won't. And I'll tell you why. It's not horrible. That was a gift, because my thing was, okay, I'm going to write 30 minutes a day. And you had gone through, your dreams don't care if you're tired. Your dreams don't care if you feel like it. But you had also told us that, hold on, I got a low battery here. You had also told us that you were always going to be on the side of our dreams.
Yes. It's very important.
There we go. And so, like, the second week of Dream Coach, I had traveled. I was exhausted. We had really long days. It was a fairly new job, and I was exhausted. And it was probably like 11 o'clock at night, maybe 10, which was late for me. You messaged me, and you said, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And you said, did you write today? And I did. I had written for 30 minutes. And I told you I wrote tired. That was a big game changer for me. And I have stuck by that. And it's true. If you have to just do it. And I know myself well enough. I might skip a day here and there, but I don't skip two, because then I'm out of the habit. And then I'm not, moving forward, and I fall back into the reason that I didn't write my second book for 8 years. Because there was always something else to do.
Day two becomes 20 years if you're not careful.
Right. That's right. And I knew that enough about myself. And I think it's human nature. I think, so no, you weren't terrible. You were on the side of my dream.
Okay. Do you want the whole story though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Here's the other side of the story. Because like, that's an important idea to me. And there's part of like it, and it can become exhausting sometimes. And I was just telling a friend today, like, am I going to do this experience again? I don't know. Like, it takes a lot out of me. Like, cause I pull into it. And so I have to be careful, with it. But one of the things I decided early on was that I'm going to be your coach. And my number one job is this: to pull out greatness from within you.
Right.
And I'm going to pull greatness from within you, even if you fight me. So you might not like me. You might cry. You might, but never, ever, ever doubt that if you're feeling like I'm being a certain way, it's because I'm being on the side of your dream when you're not.
Right.
And that's an important idea, so that when somebody gets frustrated,
it was huge.
Just realize you're on the wrong side, because I'm always on the side of your dream, and that's whose side I'm on. So if you don't like it,
right,
it's because you're working against your dream. And prior to me, nobody called you out on it.
Right.
But I don't want to spend
it's true.
calling you out on stuff, right? So I'm on Facebook, and I see that you've had a horrible day. I saw the picture of the fire trucks, like outside your hotel, and you saying, I got up at 6 o'clock, I got up here, and I did all this stuff, and it's been an exhausting day. And then I saw this awesome community we had. And this awesome community, you know what they were saying? Mary, it's okay. We love you, Mary. Like, and that's awesome. That's not my job, though. That's not my job.
Right.
So I called you to go, hey, can I ask you a question? Did you write? Because I don't care that there was a fire truck. I don't care that you got up at 5:30. I don't care about all this stuff, because your legacy matters. And if that next book gets buried with you, then I didn't do my job.
Right.
And so you have to learn the lesson. It doesn't matter if you had a tough day. It doesn't matter that fire truck. It doesn't matter that TSA were jerks. It doesn't matter whatever. And what you told me was, I wrote, I'm not even sure it's readable, and it's junk. And I said, I don't care. I don't care, because it's about developing a dream habit.
Right.
And if I can get you, because this isn't about, you had used the word book the other day, and I had to correct you. I said,
and that was huge too. I've mentioned that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know. Yeah.
I did. I posted, when I did the repost, I said that, I said all the great things about you. And I'm not saying that to build you up. I'm saying that was one of the other gifts, was that you said you had a correction for me. And I took that, just that word correction, okay, from you, because you had established the ground rules that was your job. And I don't take correction well, but I do it better in this group because of the relationships that we've developed. But one of the things I said was, that you corrected me to go from saying book to books, and then you said and lives and teaching, and you said you made me remember that this book was the beginning of my dream and not the end. And that was huge. That was just huge. It just gave me a whole new commitment, not only to the book, but it just took me to a whole new level.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I think people, too many times, like I think one of the questions we got was like about, well, which dream do I do? Like I have multiple ideas. And I just said, like, I think we think of dream as this like final destination, and it's not.
Right.
You know, it is a road trip. It is an adventure. Like, you know, pick one and then do it. But so that's like a big thing is you had used the wording like, yeah, when my book is finished, like that was the end of your experience. And I was like, no, Mary,
Right.
it's the beginning, because you have books in you.
Right.
But here was the idea. Books don't happen until book happens.
Right. Right.
When you sit down and you put words on a page, no matter how you feel. And
exactly.
You write tired, and you write sick, and you write angry, and you write frustrated, and you write hungry, and you write. And you get to the point where that's what you do. And you only have to do it for 30 minutes. And if you just keep doing that, then what will happen is ultimately you'll just get better at it. And you'll get better at it, and get better at it, and then you'll have a book, and then you'll have books.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because, you know, I've talked with my husband a lot about this whole journey, and every once in a while he'll notice that I've been sitting on the couch in the living room without my journal or a book, and he says, "Did you write today?" So you've got a partner in crime there, because now he's starting to ask me, "Did you write today?" So that's huge. That's huge. He's always been a great supporter, but now he sees how important that is.
Yes. He sees, because, you know, like there was a lot of people that wanted me to be a life coach, right? And so I was getting recruited by different companies to like be a life coach, and I just said, I just don't like, I'm not, I think there's a fundamental flaw in that idea. But what if I was a dream coach? Like, I didn't even know that even was a thing. Like, I legit just made that up. Like, people are like, I have a dream coach.
It caught on.
It's a made up thing. But because what it was is that the best form of personal development is actually working on your dream. To just go and say, Randy, read this book or watch this or whatever, you working on your dream makes you confront like those things that might be holding you back. And so when people that love you start to see, like what we call is don't break the chain. It's a story that I tell in Dream Coach. It's about not breaking the chain. And when they start to see that, then what starts to happen is we get stories of that you just told of like your husband going, "Did you write today?" That's an awesome idea, because he sees the change that's in you. And I've even seen like different kids go, "Mommy, when are you going live again?"
Yes.
Like that's
yes.
awesome.
It's been phenomenal.
When I hear those stories. Because too many times what ends up happening is that the people in our lives, when they've seen this done the wrong way, right? They've seen it done through, you know, some business vehicle or whatever. It's always about that it's taking away from you.
Right.
And what I'm trying to do is take away everything that's not you. It's a big difference. It's that cut away the barrier. Is it sculpting?
Right.
The sculpting is me going and pulling away, say like, "Mary, I just don't think that's you. Like, let's pull that away." And so that leaves then more of you.
Right.
Not less. And I think that's what happens a lot.
Yeah, it's true. A couple other things. We've just in our discussion, we've covered a lot of the things that people wanted to know about. One of the things that was really interesting, and I think you've answered a lot of the questions, like how much time should I carve out? You need to carve out as much as you need to carve out, right? to make that a priority. I mean,
Well,
you've told me before when I had multiple things I was doing, and you said, well, so what's your question? And I asked you, I said, so what do I need to do? And you said, you know, you need to do the thing first and then everything else, and not the other way around. So
yeah, because
I think that answers that.
No, this is what ends up happening for people. They start working on their dream, and then other people start noticing, and they start saying like, wow, that's really good. Like this even happens in a lot of my social coaching for people that start to get recognition, like in their companies they're in. And then the fatal flaw happens. They stop doing the things that they got the recognition for, because now they're a leader and now they're a coach,
Right.
and now they're all those things. And then
Right.
they become irrelevant until then the next person like becomes the new flavor. And that's
Right.
like, no, Mary, like it's okay for you to go and be on somebody's live, and it's okay for you to meet with this group, and it's but you're Mary the author, and you're
Right.
Mary the author because you sit down and write every day. That's what makes you an author. Somebody wants to be a filmmaker, good, take out your phone and make a film. You're a filmmaker. You want to be a photographer, go take a picture. You're a photographer. You want to be a blogger,
Right.
Great, go write a blog. But activity doesn't make you any of those things. It's the action that you take that makes you that thing. And
Right.
so
Right.
I think that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so one thing, and we talked about this at the retreat, and then we've talked about it a lot since then, about it's two parts. I think that one of the big things for me was distinguishing my vehicle to my dream life and my dream.
Okay, yeah.
And then also what happens when you change vehicles, how do you make that transition? And I've been learning that answer recently, but I think that several people have asked me about that. Can you spend a few minutes telling us about that?
Yeah, I spent this afternoon taking all of the lessons that I've ever taught on the different subjects and started mapping them out. And I got really excited because I came up with 2 or 3 new lessons that I'm going to be teaching you guys over the next 5 to 6 weeks. And so there's some really cool stuff that I went to go update, and then all that other cool stuff happened in Social Coach. And so that'll be a late night update to get to you guys. But I remember like one of the things that I talk about week 1, right? And so there's kind of 2 parts to your question. One is the difference between a wish and a dream. Most people have a wish. How does somebody know they have a dream? That over the next week, do you take a step towards making that dream happen? Then you have a dream. 7 days go by and I ask you, how did it go? And you give me an excuse, you have a wish. It's really that simple. Now, notice I didn't say the next step, because what stops most of you is that you think that there is the next step. When there's not the next step, there is a step. There is something that each one of you can do to get even 1 step closer to your dream. There's a step. You can, whatever that is, there is something. There is not this, number one, it's a myth that there's this perfect plan, but there is a step. So that becomes the difference between a wish and a dream. And then what was the second part?
About when you change your vehicles, like some people, like especially in MLM companies, you know, people will change. And so how do you kind of let people know that?
Cool. So, well, and this is why I brought up a dream and wish, is I think that sometimes we just get the language messed up. Like we think the dream is the final destination when I don't think it is. We confuse the idea between dream and wish, like that. We get that confused. We don't understand that a goal is just a mile marker. Like it's just a mile marker along the way. And I think what we do is we confuse the idea between a vehicle and the dream. The vehicle is what takes us to the dream. And so you want the best vehicle for that to happen. The way I explain it sometimes is that I did a live about this morning because of just the difference between being emotional and passionate. It's like I'm a very passionate person. Like if you like I get very excited about nerdy things, just like whatever. I feel like when I start getting involved in somebody's dream, I'm gonna have a little therapy right now. Because I have struggled a little bit because I said like the dream coach experience, it's an experiment for me. There's times when it took too much, like it took away from me that I didn't have to give. Because when I say I'm going to be somebody's dream coach, like it becomes our dream. Like it becomes that important to me. And so when I see it not being worked on or just what it put in, it becomes kind of a lot. Where you have to be careful is to understand that like the projects that I have, I'm very passionate about my projects. Okay. But I had to learn that my projects are not my babies. My babies are my babies. And so too many times, like, you know, your kids grow up and I've had to learn to get to the place that where my vehicle, right, are cattle. And if cattle get sick, I don't want to. It's going to make me sad. But if I have to take it out back and I have to put it down, then that's what I have to do. Because what I can't do is I can't have that affect my babies. And I think what happens is we think, I think I might have done a lesson. I did it in the dream. I did it in our retreat. I don't know if I've done it in the experience yet, but I talked about the difference between why don't people start their dream? Why do people get stalled? And then why do people stop? And I think sometimes people don't want to stop a vehicle because they feel like it's giving up. And I don't think that's true. You have to realize, like, even Adventure Social, like my company, that is not my dream. What Adventure Social is and Social Coach and all these things, those are vehicles that help make the dream happen. And so what we talk about is like, hey, you want to have a vehicle, but if your vehicle is you work this job and it funds this dream, okay. What we want to try to do is like align those. But I don't want anybody to think that like Social Coach is my dream. Social Coach is like the vehicle by which that happens. And so what happens, because we get so personal with it, we then tie it to our identity. And so I was writing somebody back about this today in the group about how it cannot be like failure is not your identity. So like when something doesn't work out, I think it was to Amy, like no, it's Kimberly, that she was talking about an experience, and I just said, hey, do you see the idea that like that what's happening here is that like that didn't work out, but that's not your identity, that's added to your experience. And so when something does work out, that builds credibility. Okay, so like I have projects that win and I have projects that fail. The ones that win give me credibility. The ones that fail give me experience. Neither one is my identity.
Right.
Okay, and so sometimes what we do is we put that into, we put our vehicle into our identity. And because of that, I think we then just make bad decisions. We make bad decisions because either way, because we are so identified that we just keep switching vehicles all the time and we don't like we never stick with something, but then sometimes we stick with something too long, or we never, because we make it so personal instead of being objective. It's some feedback that I get to dream is to say, like, the purpose of this dream is like, how does this serve the dream? And you objectively go and say, does it or doesn't it? That doesn't mean stop it. That means we talk much more about aligning it. You know, because what happens is we're trying to juggle everything, and everything is, you know, we're just juggling everything. And so what I talk about is like, in the example today, it was in one comment, it was about wanting to help people in like compassion, like in helping people get back on their feet. And then at the end of the update, it talked about growing a business and having a problem of needing help, like having to build a team. And I just said, let's connect those two things, because we have silos. We do.
Right.
I have this thing and this thing and this thing. I was like, nope, that's not like you have a dream. Your dream is about this. Connect that you have this. Like, that's what the integration part is.
Right.
We talk about that a lot. That's probably confusing to somebody that's just like logging in for the first time. But I just,
well, it's intriguing though. I think it gives people a new point of view.
Well, I just think that everything should be made inside of, like, for those of you that start to like, well, how do I balance my dream and how do I give time to my dream? Like, I just think that that's never going to work out. What you have to do is you have to make decisions inside of the dream context. So I align my calendar to my dream. I align my budget to my dream. I align my energy. I align my relationships. I align my posts. I align what groups I'm going to go to. Like, I do that, and then that's where I get all the momentum. So that's why when somebody asks me certain questions, it's like, oh, see, you have that question because you think about dreams the wrong way.
Right.
And so because your thinking is flawed in that area, not because you're a bad person, but because you were told things that weren't true. And no answer I will give you, like, it'll just be fluff. Like, you're going to read another book or go to another conference and you're still in the same situation. You know?
Right.
Like, how did have lists and all that, like, how many books have you read? How many YouTube videos? How many stuff did you say? And I just said, I'm not going to tell you where it's going to be until you land, and just show up, and I'm not going to give you an itinerary or anything. But yet that is what worked. But yet you have all professional development and all this education and all the other stuff that, how's that working out for everybody? It's not.
Right.
And if we're honest about it, we say it out loud, we go, yeah, that doesn't make sense. So it's just, it's crazy.
Right. Yeah. Okay, two more. Because I don't want to. I know you've got some late night things you need to do now that you've been on here and had some other things come up. One is near and dear to me, and I've shared with my friends before that this was one of the excuses I gave for not even joining this latest Dream Coach program.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one that I know. See, I'm completely transparent, and I think that's why people were so excited.
I love it. See, the thing is,
so excited that I've continued to do it, huh?
No, I think this is what
it was. That
is that like,
I don't have everything. I don't have my website set up. I don't know WordPress. I don't, I had like 5 things that absolutely had to be ready to push the button before I could even think about Dream Coach. And you were really nice about it. I know you were thinking, oh my God, but you were nice about it. But the other nice thing you did was say that you weren't going to take my first no. And you kind of talked me down from that, having to have everything perfect and in place. I think that I love the analogy you use as to to build the airplane after it's already in the air. Just push the button and do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is building the plane while it's in the air. And so I remember you saying, I was like, hey, I'm doing this Dream Coach thing, and I think, it's something. I think what's great about you being transparent is that other people that are in the Dream Coach experience can go, oh, maybe he's not just picking on me. No, like,
right.
Dream. So I remember you saying, I want to work on my dream, but I need to like get a website. I need to do all this other stuff. And I just was like, I isn't that the point of what this is? Like that,
Right.
like why? But like you can say no, but I just want you to know that you're going to have to say no 3 times. And then I'm not going to ask you, but I'm going to ask you 3 times. And then afterwards, I'll
Right.
never bother you again. So I only had to ask you once, but I let you
Yeah,
know.
you did. You had me at that. Yeah, so I was grateful for that. The other thing, and I've also shared about this little exercise that we did that also was life-changing. And I even posted, my friend let me post her hand, her fingers holding this, is I'm afraid what people will think about me or my dream.
Yeah.
The 1-inch piece of paper.
You want me?
That was huge.
Yeah. You want me to talk?
And she just had one of these, like, I mean, she breathed in when I shared. I tore a little piece. I had my journal with me because she was running a few minutes late, and I tore a little corner out of it. And I handed it to her, and we had that conversation. And she literally just took her breath in because it was like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that I had talked about this today a little bit. Is like your dream doesn't care what your mother-in-law thinks, so why do you?
Right.
That doesn't mean she's bad. That doesn't mean whatever. It just means that they're not an expert in that. Like I just feel like too many times we're listening to people that have no experience in areas when it comes to like the dream. I don't go and if I want to get advice from somebody, I want to get somebody that has experience. I want to get it's like if you don't have kids, I'm probably not going to get your advice on kids.
Right.
But that doesn't
Right.
mean that like my brother, he doesn't have kids and he doesn't even like kids. But like he is an amazing chef. And I want to take advice from him because I've tasted his food and he's never steered me wrong when I've asked him for a restaurant recommendation. It doesn't matter what city I'm in, he'll be able to tell me where I should go to eat.
Right.
I'm not going to go and say, hey, one of my kids is having this like issue. What do you think? When
Right.
my kids. But I'm also not going to like ask my friend Todd, who literally only eats like mac and cheese and French fries and chicken fingers. Like that's all he ever eats. I'm not going to ask him his opinion because like he is not a great source for that, right? And so like it makes sense in every other aspect of our life, but when it comes to dreams, everybody has an equal opinion. Whether somebody's accomplished their dream or not accomplished their dream, like they get the same say. No, I actually would probably, why am I listening to people who don't have a dream, gave up on a dream, their opinion of a dream? By that very fact, if we replace dream with any other word to say, like, we would say, no, they're qualified from their opinion. But yeah, with our dreams, we give everybody the opinion. So like, I just try to do things that help save me time. Like, for example, like what I talked about earlier is that I've already made a decision that I'm not going to give up. So like, I'm not going to waste all the time. Like cause here's the deal is you will get knocked down. It's one of the first things that we teach you. Your dream will get punched in the face. Like, hey, lesson 1, your dream's going to get punched in the face. When it does, and you get knocked down, the time to decide if you're going to get back up is not when you got knocked down. It's before you started this process. Yeah. So, that actually pushed it through.
You made Becky throw up because she was so scared.
She did it though. She did it and became my hero. So this is where one of the things that help you is that I think too many times we want like everybody gets an opinion. And so what I did is that You take a small little. I made you throw up, Katie? No, I didn't. I've given you hives.
Oh, Becky.
No,
Becky did it.
Katie's jumping on the.
Oh. He's done it to you. Oh, Katie said you've done it to her too.
Well, no, because I just said, hey, that's a great idea. You're going to go live and talk about that. Talk to you. So, we're now picking on me?
Oh.
So, I'm scratching some of your names off this paper. So, what you get, you only get this piece of paper, though, right? And you write everybody's name that gets to have an opinion of your dream. Everybody that, if their name's on the piece of paper, then you stop and listen. And you only get that 1 inch by 1 inch sheet of paper. And as you get older and as you get more experience, I
don't even need that much.
I can write with a marker now. And then so when somebody says, well, I don't think this, I just, oh, their name's not on the sheet of paper. And then I move on. Well, but he did. Nope, their name's not on the sheet of paper.
Right.
Because I have things to do. Like, I'm not going to give it, like, you know, you have 17 seconds before a thought takes root. And so somebody gets to say something and it throws your whole day off. And so it's like, it's just a checklist for me. Like, oh, no, their opinion is not on this sheet of paper. But if somebody does bring up something and their name is on this piece of paper, it's usually because I'm not seeing something. I'm going too fast. And there's a couple of people that, like, if they text me how it's going, I made a decision that I would never say fine, or like I would always tell them how I was feeling. And that was, and that's been really healthy for me, you know, to be able to do that. But it's only a few. It's only a few.
Yeah. Great. Yep, it's made a difference for me. I think it has for my one friend in particular that I had dinner with the other night. So thank you so much. This has been great advice. It's been a great reminder. I think for those of us that are in Dream Coach and Social Coach, but it's also been a great introduction. I've had people literally message me and say, I don't know what you're doing, but I want it. So yeah, that never happens. But I mean, that's how great this experience has been. And that, I think that's what you wanted for us, you know, our dream to be in other people.
Yeah.
And to see what's possible when you go after your dream and you don't give up, and you just decide that it doesn't matter what other people think. It does. The hashtags, you know, dreams don't care. That's a big one. They don't care. If they're going to happen, they have to happen no matter how you feel or what else is going on. So I think all of that is really helpful. And I'm really grateful that you took the time to come on and share all of your wisdom with us. And I can't wait to hear what the late night announcement is. So I'm going to let you go. Do you have any words of wisdom to leave us with?
Oh, what was the last hour? Like, hey, you got art to say now? Like, what?
What? Yeah, anything important? You know, the real good stuff.
Because I've been holding back all the good stuff. I was trying to think what announcement you're talking about. Oh no, like I wanted to make that update in Dream Coach because I'm really
right.
I'm excited about the next couple of weeks. So there's that. Yeah, there's just a lot of things.
Katie said maybe just rap for us. Are you up for that?
Did you just challenge me to a rap battle?
I think that's what she had in mind. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing with us. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on.
Okay.
Have a good night, and everybody, see you next Monday.
Bye, everybody.